Hey, every morning, everybody, and good morning. My name is Melissa Jakubovic. I'm a author, health, and life coach here at mycoachmelissa.com. My dog is shaking. You might hear her. I'm also sitting outside, so you may hear the airplanes going above or the cars driving around or people yelling on their porches and animals. So just a beautiful day, and I had to take it outside. So for today's topic of Push Positive Live, we are talking about overcoming the pain of a memory. We had really bad technical difficulties last week. This was our topic for last week. We tried to go live 3 times and it kept getting cut off. So we are back this week, but rest assured that this is the same topic as last week, so you didn't miss a thing. And that's what we're going to talk about, overcoming the pain of a memory. And the reason why this is so important and why I really wanted to come in here and do a live on this is because this is something that's prominent in my life. And so many people that are close to me are experiencing the same thing. They've gone through something, whether it's one traumatic moment or a series of events that happened in their childhood that keeps getting replayed in their mind, and it's keeping them stuck, feeling uncomfortable, and reliving this memory. And so I think it's really important to understand that there are ways to cope with getting out of this cycle so that you can move forward and use this memory as a way to fuel you in a positive direction and you don't feel stuck. Before I get any further in here, I want to just share this on my wall because I think it's important to share, and I want to invite you guys to share this video as well, because when we share, we care, right? Sharing is caring, and there are other people that might be going through some of these issues, and just a simple click of the share button on your wall could really help somebody else. So what I'd like to do is just take a moment to find this video on my wall and share it. We're going to talk about overcoming the pain of a memory. Here we go. I'm going to share it on my wall, and I would love it if you shared it as well. Before we start, I want to do our breathing exercise. So if you're not driving, and hopefully you're not, I say that all the time, but I know you can watch these videos when you're driving, and that would be dangerous. But I want you to just sit up nice and tall, or if you're laying down, I want you to relax on your back with your palms away from you. So you're laying flat like this. And I want you, let me just share this. I want you to think about what you are trying to achieve and what type of faith or belief you need in order to accomplish that. And then I want you to think about what is stopping you from accomplishing that, or what fears or hesitations do you have around that idea, that thing that you're trying to accomplish or succeed or improve or better yourself. And so what I want you to do during this breathing exercise, hold on, let me just share this because it's very hard for me to multitask. There we go. What I want you to think about is what is stopping you and why is it stopping you, and what is it that you want to achieve. And so when we do this breathing exercise, it's a very simple exercise. Why can't I share this on my page? Hopefully you guys are having an easier time sharing it on my page, on your pages. I will deal with this later. So I want you to sit up nice and tall. You want your shoulder blades to be hugging on your back ribs, so your ears are not crunched up here into your shoulders aren't crunched into your ears, they're down. And I want you to have a nice long elongated spine. Think about a string from the crown of your head being pulled up, lifting you. It's actually separating your lower vertebrae and your spine, just like lifting them out, while you think about your tailbone being grounded down into the ground. So you're really elongating your spine. And just sit here for a minute and let's get present in the moment so that we can really take in what's happening during this Push Positive Live broadcast and ignore all of the outside things that you have going on just for these few minutes. So close your eyes, and I want you to just inhale through your nose and exhale slowly through the mouth. And I hope you're doing this with me wherever you may be. So when you inhale, I want you to inhale that faith, inhale that belief of whatever it is you're trying to achieve, believing that you can get there, you will get there, everything will work out. So when you inhale, I want you to think about the word belief or faith. Let that belief and faith really fill your body up. Really feel it. Get that tingly feeling, that excitement, belief that this is really where we are going and heading in this direction. And then as you exhale through your mouth, I want you to exhale that fear. I hope you can still hear me as the cars go by. I want you to exhale the fear. I want you to exhale the tension that's keeping you stuck, that's keeping you from achieving that goal. So you're going to inhale the belief that it's possible, and you're going to exhale the fear that's holding you back. Letting that fear leave your body, leave your mind, so that what is left is just belief. So let's do a few of these together. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale the belief. And exhale the fear. Let's do a little more. Inhale the belief. Really feel it. Really truly believe that this is what's happening for you. This is what's achievable. And exhale that fear. Letting go of everything that you're doubting. Letting go of everything that maybe people around you are doubting, telling you to doubt yourself. And do one more. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, here we are. We have achieved this state of belief with an open mind. We've removed the fear around what's holding us back. And now we are ready to listen and experience something new in this broadcast. Okay, I also want to remind you that October 1st, I am hosting a 5-day free clean eating challenge. This is a great way to get your body and your mind in sync. Sometimes when we have a lot of issues going on our mind, sometimes when we have a lot of things that are emotional or spiritually keeping us stuck, it's a really good time to fix something in our health routine, in our physical body routine, because then you're giving your body the chance to thrive, which helps your mind. So for my 5-day free clean eating challenge, it starts October 1st. You need to go to go.mycoachmeliss.com/5-day challenge, and there's dashes in between that, the 5-day challenge. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put that right here in the link so that you can go register, because it is super important that you have your mind and your body connected equally, and this is the perfect opportunity to do it. So it's free. My Coach Meliss. It's go.mycoachmeliss.com/5-day-challenge, and I just put that in there so you can go register. All right. So the idea of today's topic is overcoming the pain of a memory. And this is really important because in my life, there are certain childhood memories that I have that constantly come back and haunt me. They trigger me to have similar feelings now in the present moment that I had then in the past. This is also important for me because there are people close to me and around me that suffer from this on a daily basis. When you have one traumatic moment and it replays in your head, you end up reliving it. So what we want to do today is not remove the memory. I'm not going to go into your brain, take it out and throw it away, but we're going to learn to have some coping mechanisms, things that we can do in exchange of what we are currently doing that will help you move past that stuck feeling or that replay feeling in your mind. So basically, when you're dwelling on your problems, what's happening is that you are magnifying the misfortune. You are magnifying the torment that you went through, or the torture, or the struggle that you continue to go through. And you may end up hosting your own pity party. And what that does, when you start thinking, woe is me, why did this happen to me? What is wrong with me? How come I'm still being haunted by this? Why is this still affecting my daily life? What's happening is that you are increasing the distress around it. So you already have stress going on because of this thing that happened to you, or this series of events that took place over your childhood, and they keep coming back and haunting you. And then every time you think about it, you get re-haunted by it. You get re-stressed out by it. And it elevates the amount of stress that you have in your life. Thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time. And if you have questions, pop them in and I will answer them as we go. So what happens is you think about this moment in time. Maybe it was a breakup that ended really badly. Maybe it was an abusive relationship that you were in. Maybe it was an event that you witnessed or were a part of unwillingly, involuntarily. Maybe it's the way your parents spoke to you as a child, and it triggers negative events or negative thoughts in your mind that prevent you from moving forward and being the best that you can be. So whatever these things are, once you come back to them again, they are now rehashing. And so you're dwelling on your problems and it's magnifying the misfortune. So it's like playing that same scene over and over and over again in your head. It's going to increase the fear that you have, which is why we exhaled the fear during our breathing exercise. That fear that you had that maybe you said something wrong, maybe you did the wrong thing, maybe you could have done something different, you should have done something different, you would have, the could have, would have, should have. All of these things increase the fear around, did I do the right thing? I'm not really sure. Now, this is something to note. That thing happened. It's already done. It happened in the past. So when you're dwelling on that, you are bringing that negative event from the past back into your future. And so that event that could have been maybe taken care of a different way, it isn't. It wasn't taken care of a different way. So when you're dwelling on that, there is no way for you to move forward because you can't go back in the past. Instead, you have to understand that things happened that way for whatever reason it happened. Maybe it's not a logical reason. Maybe it's nothing you understand. Maybe there is no reason that you can figure out, but it happened for that reason, whatever it is. And now your job is to move from the past into the future with coping mechanisms that can relieve that pain and tension and use that event as a way to guide future events or a way to guide future people if you want to coach other people through similar events, or a way for you to understand what happened, how it could have happened differently, and how you can apply that to a different yet similar event or circumstance. So maybe the issue is that you just can't stop thinking about, for example, if you were name called as a child at school, okay? People always called you nasty names, and that's hurtful. I have 2 children, and I know that when things happen at school and it upsets them, I feel their pain, and it's like, I can't do anything because I am not them, and I'm not in that moment with them at school. And kids have a hard time coping with being called nasty names, right? Or anything that happened in your childhood, but we'll just use this as an example. So those hurtful comments, what they do is they invade your mind and they become a self-fulfilling prophecy. They become this limiting belief that allows you to think only up to the level of what those kids called you as a kid. So if you were called chubby or fat or stupid or any of these negative names, you then believe, I am chubby, I am fat, I am stupid. And then what happens is when you grow to live your life, it is very hard to go past that ceiling that was given to you. If some kid tells you you're fat and stupid, you believe eventually that you may be fat and stupid. So everything you do in your life is under the window of I am fat and stupid. It's a limiting belief. It limits you from exceeding. Now, if we remove these limiting beliefs, what happens? You can be the best you can be, and you don't have these limiting beliefs anymore. So those hurtful comments, they invade your mind, no matter if you're an adult or not, like any time in your life, they might come back and haunt you. And then when you meet new people, or when you get a new job, or when you have a few minutes sitting there in silence thinking about reflecting on what happened to you, you rehash those painful memories or those moments in time that you specifically remember in school or wherever where you we're calling these things, and your self-confidence plummets. And this feeling of I'm not good enough and hopelessness, it ends up increasing. So it's like this catch-22, like you can't get out of it. You're being called these bad names, so you act as though you were called those bad names. When you act as though you are those bad names, you're reliving this feeling here. So it's hard to get out of this stuck pattern. Very true, Lissa says. Thanks, Lissa. Yeah, and it's hard. And as adults, even if you weren't called bad names and that wasn't the right example for you, there are things that happen in our childhood that get triggered as adults. And the way we respond to them are due to the way we were raised or the way we actually took care of those situations in the moment. And it is our job as adults, because we're not kids anymore, to recognize those moments and pull them out. I have an example, which is as a child, when both of my parents, who are divorced, and so they live separately, and they both had this habit, and still do probably, when they do dishes, they are angry about putting dishes in the dishwasher. There's lots of clanking. There's lots of screaming. There's lots of like, blah, 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 I don't know, upset. So as an adult, when my partner puts dishes in the dishwasher, I immediately get triggered. Like, am I in trouble? What's happening? Is she mad at me? What's happening? It's the dumbest thing. She's putting dishes away. She's doing dishes. Of course, she's not mad at me, right? But we had to talk about this because growing up as a child, that feeling, that hearing someone put dishes in the dishwasher from the room over caused this enormous sense of fear inside of me. And it was a trigger that as an adult, it's happening, and it's like, I'm putting dishes away. Why are you scared? So we had to talk about it. So things like that, little things like that, can trigger you into adulthood. And as an adult, you need to remember that those are past events, and we may have different coping mechanisms now that we can use from our coping bank to move us into a more normal, more calmer, more peaceful, more hopeful state of mind. So to practice mindfulness, you have to understand that you are here and you are now. We are present in this moment, and this is what we need to be focusing on for now. So you could do this by meditation. You could do this by just doing that breathing exercise we started with, where you inhale something that you really need, that's really going to fuel you and help you achieve something, and then exhale all of that crap that's stuck inside of you that's really keeping you stuck. And it might sound like, that is so weird, we're just breathing and thinking about words, but your mind is the starting point, that is the launch pad for action. So the thoughts that you're thinking in your head are going to increase the way that you behave and act and the way you react to things. So it's a practice. It's a mindfulness practice, thinking about being in this moment, in this situation. For example, with my example, she is simply putting dishes from the sink into the dishwasher. Be present in this moment. Don't jump back to the childhood moment of dishwasher cleaning up means I'm mad at you. So the present moment is what we need to pull our ideas from before we jump to conclusions or reactions. Another thing is to distract yourself. So to say, oh, that bad memory happened to me. I saw something traumatic happen. That bad memory happened to me. And to say, I'm not going to think about it. It's haunting me. I'm just not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about it. What is that doing? It's causing you to think about it. Thanks for all the love, guys. I appreciate all the likes and hearts and everything. So it causes you to think about it even more. And so what you have to do is not think about it, not think about not thinking about it. You need to distract yourself, move yourself away from that thought. If you've ever felt depressed, maybe after a breakup or grieving over a loss of someone or something, have you ever felt that you immediately, your energy level drops? You kind of feel closed off. You want to be cuddled up in this little tiny ball. You don't want to be open with your arms up like, yes, like you're succeeding. You want to be like kind of smaller, taking up less space. You may be crying. You may feel really unhappy. You may not want to talk to other people. You're kind of retreating into yourself. And someone says, you know what, forget about the person you broke up. Let's go take you out. You need to distract yourself. It pulls you, it yanks you out of your current state and throws you into something else. And you might feel that transition is very jolting. Like, I don't want to go from crying in a ball to partying with my friends, because you can't see how partying with your friends would actually work when you're in this state of mind. So that transition might be like a jolt, but that jolt is what pushes you into a different direction. So you do need a distraction. So that could be hanging out with friends. That could be exercising. That could be joining my 5-day clean eating challenge, because then you're focusing on sticking to a routine. It could be just setting some time to start a new project, learn a musical instrument, something that you've always wanted to do that you were like, one day I'll do it. Today could be the day. So you want to distract yourself, because once you have taken your mind away from this negative idea and pushed it somewhere else and go with it in that direction, this bad idea isn't going to be haunting you. You're not going to be dwelling there in that negative space anymore. You also want to set aside some time to think. I'm not saying pretend it never happened and move on, because it did happen and you need to deal with those feelings. Maybe you need to seek a therapist if that's something that's really, really haunting for you and it's really, you're really stuck there. But some of these strategies paired with that could be helpful. And if you don't need a therapist, these strategies alone could be very, very promising. So you want to set some time to think, like make a list. Make a list of things to think about later. So if something is upsetting to you, lots of these triggers keep coming up, or you have some post-traumatic stress going on about an event, what you can do, instead of saying, gosh, I'm going to sit here and cry and think and get really, really deep into those negative thoughts, which you can get stuck in, and it's hard to be stuck in that depressed state. Instead, maybe have an ongoing list, like on a spiral notebook type of thing, and say, this is the list of things I'm going to dwell on later. So you've written it down, you've validated that these ideas exist, and then when you're alone one time, maybe you can say, okay, I'm going to think about these things and really piece things together. Maybe after using these other coping strategies, you can go back, dwell on these things in not such a negative way. Oh, the curtains are flying. But maybe to say, okay, I've thought about maybe a different way to approach this trigger. And then I'll just spend some time thinking it through. Because thinking things through really does help. It's like when you have something you need to say to somebody, but you don't. Thinking it through can really clear the way, and then actually speaking those words to that person really can fix the problem. So you're kind of doing that with yourself. It's like a one-sided thing. So set some time aside to really think about when you're going to break down these ideas and work out these problems so that you can be worrying less. You could be more productive in your approach to fixing a situation or overcoming something, instead of just being in this stuck status of negativity. Also, I want you to actively look for solutions to these problems. So how could we make this negative event into something positive? Now, I know a lot of people, especially if it's a very traumatic event, are trying to throw things at the phone or the computer right now, like, how dare you say that? We can make a positive event out of this. I'm not saying that a negative event equals a positive event. I have several friends who unfortunately were traumatically hurt by rape. Okay, rape is a very serious thing. It's a very traumatic thing. I am not saying rape is negative, turn it into something positive. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, from the situation that took place, maybe it was not the actual rape, but the whole feeling around what happened afterwards, the aftermath of that, or if that was like 10 years ago, what you did differently in the last 10 years since that event, you can find something positive that came out of that event that you can use later on in your life. Maybe it was resilience, maybe it was being a survivor, maybe it was never giving up, maybe it was going to talk to other rape victims and explaining how you can help other people and be a positive person in the community. Maybe it's talking to someone else who's close to you who's been through something traumatic and you can relate to them. So that event, that negative event may be negative, but there are positive things that can come out of it if you allow it. So to really think about how you can shift your energy into a positive one is really important. A perfect example is I went through a very hard breakup, caused me to be in a deep depression for 10 months. Very, very deep and scary depression. The breakup was shitty, the depression was shitty, but what happened afterwards? I wrote a book about it, and I started a health and life coaching company around the idea of helping people move through transitions in their life gracefully. So if I had not experienced that deep depression and that breakup, this whole thing on this side would not have ever transpired. There would not be a life coaching company called My Coach Melissa. I would not have written a book called Push Positive. So from a negative perspective, a negative event, something that could be traumatic or haunting, you can push something positive out of it. There's a plane flying over me. I hope you can still hear me. Also, I don't want you, this is going back to my example of the dishwasher, and if you're just tuning in now, you can go back and play it from the beginning later. I want you to recognize what's truly, truly happening, and don't take it out of context. So when my partner is putting dishes in the dishwasher, I want to recognize what is truly happening. She is simply putting dishes from the sink into the dishwasher, right? It is not me as a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old being screamed at from the other room while dishes are slamming being put into the dishwasher. It reminds me of that situation, but that's not what's really happening. So I want you to recognize what's really happening and don't take it out of context, because if you do, you're going to get stuck in that negative cycle. You're going to relive those things that happen to you, and the reaction that you have in the present moment now is going to be a reaction based off what happened in the past, not what's really going on. Like if you were to go on a first date and you were made fun of as a child, and you go, oh, he's gonna hate me because, you know, I'm fat, chubby, and stupid. Everyone told me that growing up. That's what's going on. There's no way that this is going to go into a positive way. So all of your reactions that you're having from these assumed ideas are going to, you know, make you show up to the date being like, hey, how are you? Yeah, whatever, you know, instead of having this refreshed energy that you are a different person now than you were as a child. Those thoughts and feelings that you had were a different context. They were taken like in the school play yard. And now you're on an adult date that you can put the way the situation goes in whatever path you want it to go in. So don't take it out of context, because then you're going to be preventing yourself from really thriving. Also, let yourself feel that pain that you're feeling. Pain is okay to feel. It's just like happiness is okay to feel. And we know what happiness is because we know what sadness is. Let's see, like killing your own spirit now, but we don't have to. Exactly. You have the ability to change who you are 5 minutes from now. It's not necessarily who you were last year. So when you walk into a new situation, you want to walk into it with a new spirit. You don't want to be dead on arrival. Exactly. You don't want that negative spirit to hold you down, and you walk into a situation already at a disadvantage. It's a fresh, clean slate, new person, new ideas, new time of life, new context. So you want to be able to move yourself from a place of happiness, starting from here, going up, not going, well, I'm really down here, so nothing's going to really work out for me. And you don't want to reinforce the past by just, recreating that scene again and again and again. A mentor of mine once said this, and I wrote it down. When you run, freeze, or attack, you end up recreating and therefore reinforcing the past. When you freeze, like you freeze up at that date, people think you're cold or you're stonewalling. You may have a bunch of things going on in your mind that are keeping you from reaching that next level, but because you're so stuck, you're frozen, it appears from the outside that you're a cold person. So if you run, nothing will last. If you're like, I can't do this date, none of them have ever worked out for me before, I'm out of here, then you're a runner. And if you run, nothing's going to last. You're not going to be able to experience that date or what comes next. Or the date is just an example, but you're not going to be able to experience a whole series of events that could have been amazing and beautiful and what you needed and wanted because you're a runner. You're triggered by something and you run. And if you rage in response to being triggered, for example, the dishwasher, that always gets me really upset and I feel like, oh, I'm in trouble. So when you are triggered by that and then you rage out in response, like they're mad at me, now I'm mad at them, then what you're doing is exactly what was done to you. So when people, they will withdraw when they're injured, and it's not a good outcome. So what you want to do, I'm going to read it again. When you run, freeze, or attack, you end up recreating and therefore reinforcing the past. You freeze and people think you're cold or stonewalling. You run and nothing will last. And if you rage in response to what you were triggered by, then you are doing what was done to you. So I want you to have some sense of spirituality, some sort of faith or belief that things will get better and that you deserve a better world. And it can mean something different for everyone. It doesn't mean religion. Of course, if you're religious, you do have a component of spirituality in there. But some sort of spirituality means that you are connecting your mind with your body, with your thoughts, with your emotions. It's all important. And I want you to really understand that you do have to have that faith and that belief that things can get better and they will change and things might take some time. Rage, guilt. What do you mean by rage, guilt? Can you type it in and let me know? Another thing that you could do that I've found is helpful for anxiety or from overcoming things, it's called ASMR. And if you've never heard of ASMR, it stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. And some people think it's a very sexual thing because what it does is it gives you this tingly feeling all over your body. You can do a YouTube search for it. It's a very popular thing. It's one of those things that's like super popular and the people that know about it really, really know about it. And then people who've never heard about it are like, what is that? But once you look it up, you're like, whoa, there are millions and millions of videos with millions and millions of views. It is something new because ASMR is something that has to do with calming. It's like a calming energy where people are whispering, and it happens over the camera. So it's a new thing because before we had social media, there was no such thing. And when you do it face to face, it doesn't really necessarily trigger the same response. But it's like whispering and talking very quietly and doing little things in the camera that make you want to relax. So what I'm doing now is ASMR. So you want to look it up, try it out. It does relax you, it does calm you down, it does sometimes help you go to sleep, relieve some anxiety. So if you are really triggered by something, maybe go pull up on your phone an ASMR video, and you might think this is a little weird, but if you just open your mind to it, it might be helpful. Okay, what do you say, Tamisha? I have guilt because I often rage and trigger easily. So if you are feeling guilty, you're saying you're feeling guilty because of the rage that you have or the trigger that you have. Is that right? Okay, so the thing about guilt is it's not going to be helpful in moving you forward, right? The guilt is going to keep you stunted. The guilt is saying, what I did, I triggered, maybe I got mad, I yelled at my kids, and maybe my temper was too short. So you're upset that you reached that point and now you feel guilt. So where is the positive in that? The positive, what you're saying basically is you yelled at someone, for example, you raged out against them. So that's a negative. And then you went back and thought about it and sat there with the idea of it and felt guilty about it, and now you're blaming yourself about it, another negative. So how can we fix this? Well, the first thing is find out why you're being triggered. What is triggering you? What is that one thing before the camel's back is broken and you are out? What is that thing that is triggering you? So if it's someone talking back to you, like your kids, or maybe it's your spouse saying, you know, I'm not doing that. You're crazy. Whatever it is, then whatever that trigger is, right before you snap, you have the control to hold it back. You have the control to remove yourself from the room, count to 10, take a deep breath. When I'm feeling really uptight and like everything is going to drive me nuts, I do remove myself from the situation. I say, you know what? I can't handle this right now, and I will be back when I've calmed down, and I leave. So I've prevented myself from reaching that trigger. Once you reach the trigger, once you've acted on the trigger, you've already missed that small window of opportunity. So those thoughts that you have you have control over them. You have control over what's going to happen next. But there's a small window of opportunity before that is no longer the case. So you want to catch yourself. What is triggering you? And quickly divert your attention. Change what you're doing. Distract yourself before you enact on it. And so if you're saying you have a lack of self-control, this is how you actually work on that and practice that. And then not feeling guilty about it and instead feeling hopeful. Well, this time I stopped myself before I went really crazy. So good job for me. Pat yourself on the back. And next time, maybe say this time, I removed myself from the situation before it got really bad. Or I communicated, if you're raging out against someone, I communicated to this person about what's going on. And actually, that might be a really good idea, to sit down with a person that you rage out against often and talk to them about this when you're in a calm state. So that when it happens later on, you already have strategies in place. They already know what to expect. You already know, if I rage out against you, I'm sorry and I don't mean it and I'm really working on it. And it would be great if you could be my support in this and congratulate me when I do it well and talk about it when I don't after I've calmed down, and really give yourself the permission to change. And the only way that that's going to work is if everyone around you knows that you are on the path to change. Because what happens is we try to change, like, I'm going to do better next time, and you do all these series of things to do better, but you haven't informed anyone around you that that's your plan. So they're still in their mindset, well, she does that all the time, that's how she is. And so they don't even recognize when you're doing things that are better. better. So you want to communicate about those things before the time comes where you rage out, so that they know that you are trying to actively change that, but you need them as the support. And that way, when you change, they can recognize the change, encourage you to do better, and hopefully over time that will help. I hope that helped you, Tamisha. I hope that was a little bit helpful. And if not, you can message below or private message me and we can go a little further in that. Thanks for all the love, guys. All right, so that is all I have for you today about overcoming the pain of a memory. I hope it was helpful. I hope you try these strategies at home. And I want to remind you that October 1st, that's next Monday, but you got to register before tomorrow when the doors close. I'm hosting a free challenge group. I only do it 3 times a year. So if you want to get in, this is your time to get in. It's my 5-day clean eating challenge group. I'm going to give you shopping list, recipes, meal guides, tons of support and encouragement so that you can achieve a healthy lifestyle. On average, people lost in the last few groups about 4 to 8 pounds. Of course, that is not a guarantee. It depends on how much effort you put in, how much weight you have to lose in the first place. And you may not have weight to lose. You may just want to practice clean eating. That's fine. But having a clean eating routine and understanding how you can incorporate that into your life really does help your mindset. And when you're depressed, one of the things that I like to say the most is to go exercise. So because it really pulls you out. So the same thing here. If something is not right in your life, and we are human, so that's probably 100% of you, something's bothering you, something's triggering you, something's upsetting you, something, you're just kind of itching to change, start here with your body. The 5-day clean eating challenge starts October 1st. I posted the links in the comments. It's go.mycoachmelissa.com/5-day-challenge, but it's here in the comments. Register for your space. It's completely free. There is no reason why you shouldn't be a part of it. There's going to be lots of engagement. I want all of the people who are part of it to help each other out. Lots of people are going through this. I will guide you, teach you how to eat right for 5 days, just 5 days. It's not even a week. Monday through Friday, I'll teach you how to prep your meals. I'll teach you how to include this lifestyle into your busy day and give you some delicious recipes that you're going to love. Recipes, shopping list, meal guides, the whole thing, tons of support. So why not try it out? 5-day clean eating challenge on October 1st. Sign up for that. And I will see you next week for Push Positive Live broadcast. We're here every Tuesday, 11 a.m., unless we have technical difficulties like last week. And I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.